Alright, folks, we are back for more Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising here, and this is something I wanted to talk about. It's a thought that I've been having, just like, and I've mentioned it a couple of times on stream, lots of things, lots of videos are going to start out like that. I stream a lot, I talk about a lot of things. But Nier is, listen, Nier was, if you somehow did not play this game before the Resurgence patch, if you're new to the game, you may have heard tales of how much of a terror this character used to be before she got, in my opinion, completely shot in the face in the Versuga patch. I know there's some amount of hopium from some Nier players. I think that's sort of dulled as the patch has gone on. It's not that she's like non-viable or can't win or anything, but her power level is definitely like significantly lower than it ever was pre-patch. But I want to sort of take this time to talk about Nier, talk about like almost like as like a study of character design and a study of what can make characters very strong in this game. And then I also later I think I'm going to discuss how I think the scariest part of this character is that we never actually saw the full potential of what this character could do. And I'm gonna, and if you disagree with me, give me a second. I'll get to that. But real quick, just to explain, I should pull up the 1.5 patch notes here too. To explain what Nier is now, right? Nier in the 1.5 patch got kind of, I'm not going to say like she got sent to hell, but she kind of got sent to hell. And there are multiple different reasons for this. Hold on. My scroll wheel, by the way, my scroll wheel is broken. Like my mouse scroll wheel is like really finicky, as you can see right there. I have an auto hotkey script that that is like scroll up and down with page up and down. It's great. Okay, so Nier. Hello, Nier. How's it going? So Nier got basically entirely reworked in the Versuga patch, but it was also like it was a rework and also a gigantic nerf, right? So as she works now, she has her 13 stocks of death, right? And when she uses her skills, they run out. If she runs out of them, death has to recharge. But the difference is that basically, it's like, how do you go over all of the goddamn things that they changed to her? It's actually, it's crazy. Okay, so the big thing with death is now that if death ever gets hit or like is unsummoned or goes away in any sort of way, it like fully starts the recharge process no matter how many death stocks you were on. Used to be that you had to fully, like the only way to like get to that like state where you had Deathless Nier was to actually fully run out of all 13 death stocks. Now if death ever gets hit, if death gets like hit by a BC, if someone throw techs Nier, or if Nier unsummons death with her JU, death goes away and this recharge period starts. And again, this recharge period is longer. Maybe mute my Grand Blue in the background there real quick. This recharge period is longer depending on how many stocks you had used. Again, this didn't used to be the case. It just used to be that even if you hit death would go away for a bit, and then Nier would be able to use them immediately again. Right? They wouldn't have to go through that recharge period until they ran out of all 13 stocks. A bunch of other things. I mean, they made the cancels out of her like she can cancel. Nier can do special cancels. They put like a damage penalty on those. They made all of her shit cost more. They nerfed a bunch of her normals. She literally can't Raging Strike anymore. They took away her meterless DP. Like they buffed her install to make it kill her instantly. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Nier really did just get shot in the head. One of the biggest changes they made, though, and one of the things I really want to talk about, and I talk about this quite. If you hit Nier, death goes away for 4 additional seconds, plus she loses 1 stock. Yeah. One of the big things I want to talk about, and I want to find it here. It was, where did it go? Where's jumping you? Hold on a second. Don't talk to me. Is it not? Hold on. It's very likely that I am just blind, I think. You Misfortune, Death's Reversed, Pain. Where's her goddamn 5U? Hold on, let me find it. It's called Pain. My bad. This is what her JU or her 5U is called. Pain. My bad. Yeah. Hit property changed from an overhead to a high. That's my bad. Yeah, this was a really big thing that Nier could do. Is Nier did have this, her JU being a high like this, let her do a bunch of really disgusting 50-50 nonsense, right? I couldn't find like a clip of exactly like the setup with the JU high-low, but here's an old ass wall brawl from before the patch, like wall brawl 16 or something. Let me go find what I am looking for here. I think it's right about here. This is 2 Niers right there. And when Nier a lot of the times could, I believe it's right here, like throws death and then does some nonsense. Yeah, right. Does all of this, whatever, and Niers would often end with like, yeah, the ominous turn into this DP, right? And this would set up a bunch of really disgusting nonsense, basically, because, you're getting knocked up by death here, you're not teching, you're not going anywhere, and Nier is right here, able to just, she can, basically what she would do is she could jump up and then either do a really late JU or land and hit you with a low, and that you could time it such that it was unfuzzyable or nearly unfuzzyble. If you did it correctly, I believe it was fully unfuzzyble. So it's a straight up high-low 50-50, right? She could also, yes, run across and 6-6M. She could run under and hit you with a low. She could run and stay same side, hit you with a low. And, I mean, what do you think is going to happen here, right? Like, what do you, place your bets, right? So, this situation for Nier was absolutely ridiculous. By the way, this whole situation that led into this, like, you know, partly unreactable, partly mental stack, like, 6-way mix, right? Look at how much damage this did. It was not like it was exactly like, it wasn't like a Lodiva LSPD that 2,000 damage or something. My money's on run up throw, I'm 6-6-ing, I'm blocking high, I know okay, hold on. Here's what you do. You run, it looks like you cross up, and you do run up low. It looks like you crossed up, you actually did same side run up low, right? And by the way, I believe, unless he drops this combo, this kill, yeah, like, Maid dies here, right? So, Nier did this to people all the goddamn time. She had incredibly strong buttons. Yeah, Luca just mixed himself from the future. Luca from the past mixed Luca from the future. So, Nier just had this. She was very strong. Nier to this day is still one of the best characters in the game in neutral. She still has some of the best neutral control in the game. Difference was when this character had some of the best neutral in the entire game, probably pre-patch, maybe the best neutral in the entire game. When they hit you, most, you know, strong Nier players could convert into that sort of like ominous turn into light Misfortune, the DP there to knock you up into that mix. They could do that off most hits. So all it did is you lost neutral to the character that had like the best neutral in the game outside of maybe 2B, and then you just got put in this looping 50-50, and the fact that it looped like didn't even matter that much, because honestly, it's like you're gonna die in 2 of them anyway, probably, right? This is a setup you're wanting. Oh, thank you, Zippy. Let me see this. Oh. I got just the Twitter, good sir. If you link me to the exact thing. Most was off every hit? Yeah, exactly. Right? And you just die. Like, and it doesn't, like, the fact that it, like, loops into itself matters, certainly. But, like, it's not she's gonna do it, like, 3 or 4 times or something. You're gonna get hit by 2 of these and die, unless you're, like, Lodiva or Vasaraga, in which case you're gonna get hit by 3 of these and die. Right? It was very, like, there was really not very much counterplay to this, right? On top of, so, we talk about what makes characters strong in this game often. And, on top of, yeah, by the way, shout out Zippy. Look at that shit right there. Not bad. Okay, so, thank you. There you go. There's the link with the setup there. This character is so tight, so true. Check this shit out. Yeah, sure. Off a 2H works too. Yeah, off literally every hit. There you go. Yeah. So on top of all the like left, right, like, you know, and yeah, so like the cross-ups don't matter in Grand Blue, like, because you can just hold the guard button, but like you have to look out for like low or overhead from like reactable lower overhead from like, you know, run up to 2M or 2L or whatever, or like 6M, and you also have to hold this like fucking unfuzzyable 50-50 high-low, which the guard button does not protect you from. Does a shit ton of damage if you get hit. It loops back into itself when you get hit. She can also just do like run up throw. Nier had like an unblockable Raging Strike setup as well, where her death would like eat. Death would like eat the. Is this loop it again? Yeah, there you go. Loops again, right? Goes high again, and I mean you're dead, right? GG, shake my hand. That's a 17,000 health character, by the way, right? Nier had like an unblockable Raging Strike setup, right? Where Misfortune like ate the Misfortune, not Misfortune from League, Misfortune the DP from Death ate your Brave counter, right? Like you would get Raging Strike, you block it, you would Brave counter to get them off you, but the armor on the DP would eat your Brave counter, and then Nier would just punish you for like spending the BC on Raging Strike. It was a Raging Strike you just like had to hold, right? If you got hit by it, you either spent 2 BC and died, or spent 1 BC and died, right? She also had incredibly strong ultimate skills, right? They nerfed them a lot in the patch as well. These are still very good ultimate skills, by the way, but they used to be a lot better. Just because this one got nerfed earlier, it got made a lot easier to like roll through and stuff like that. Thank you to Zip. It's amazing to have Zippy in the chat right here. Thank you. Show me this Raging Strike. Oh, the CEO. We'll talk about CEO too. Yeah. There you go. See, yeah, you see that? The armor on the DP eats on the DP eats the Brave counter. At which point you spent 2 BC, you got hit by a BC, right? And you spent you got hit by a Raging Strike, and you spent a Brave point, Brave countering the Raging Strike, and then you just get comboed anyway, right? I'm pretty sure. I mean, I probably can't kill with this because you don't have enough resource, but like, I don't think I need to tell you how ridiculous that is, right? On top of, she had incredibly strong pressure in the corner, just easy access to plus frames. Again, very strong ultimate skills. This shit is plus 27 on block, still is, but now the difference is now you can Death's invuln gets removed at the end of these things, right? So now you can actually just Brave counter at the end of the U skills, and it kills Death, puts that Nier in Deathless Nier state where she's bottom 1 by a mile, etc., etc. It's still a good ultimate skill, by the way. It's just not as dominant as it used to be, right? Amazing Oki. She had a really good and still does to an extent to this, but she was very strong against the universal mechanics of the game. She had very good brave counter baits with all of her, because her death is pressuring you and Nier is over there still actionable. So if you try to BC the death pressure, Nier can just like spot dodge. The amount of times, I mean, this is one that you're not gonna really, I don't have a clip for this, but if you played for any amount of time, you're blocking 236M and Nier just walks up to you and goes like spot dodge, spot dodge, spot dodge. Like 3 raw spot dodges in a row just because you're holding this 236M, which by the way is plus 86 on block. And God forbid you actually brave counter and she spot dodges it and you whiff. You're eating a full corner combo from Nier and you're probably gonna fucking die and you just spent the brave point, right? So she was some of the best at dealing with, she probably had the best answers to brave counter in the entire game. Similarly, throw teching her was also incredibly scary, right? She did incredible damage. She had the best ultimate skills in the game. She had the best neutral in the game. She had looping 50-50s with no counterplay. She had unblockable raging strike setups. She did everything, right? I think they just wanted to nerf the character, didn't have time for a full rework, so they just chopped her legs. Yeah, so with that in mind, like, people, like, there were certainly arguments. Nier, I think, was, definitely, she was undisputed the best character in the game in version 1.4 before the Vesuja patch dropped. There was talk of, like, is she in her own tier? Is she just, like, top 1, but not in her own tier? It gets kind of semantic. I personally, I'm not entirely certain that she was, but it's honestly possible she was very strong. If someone wants to say Nier was in her own tier in the game, maybe, sure. There's the infamous, this is the clip that, from the clip where Zippy sent us the Raging Strike setup here, but there's the infamous CEO 2024 where the top 8 was me again on Nier, Aaron Damac on Belial, Zane on Grimnir, Wavy playing Kag and Siegfried there, and then Nitro on Nier, and Zero on Charlotta, and then Zippy on Nier, and then Elsa on Nier. People were not very happy about this tournament, as you might imagine, in a game with a roster as large as Granblue's, right? At this time, like 30-something characters, 32 characters probably, for 4 members of a top 8 in a... this is a Gold Arc World Tour event too, so it's not like a little joke event or anything. Obviously, you can tell all these people in the top 8 are very strong players, right? So for 4 of the 8 slots of a top 8 in a game with 32 characters to be a single character, that's kind of a warning sign, for sure. We're not talking like Tekken 7 release Leroy or something like that, but it's real bad, right? Nier is definitely running the game at this point. And for that reason, while I do think they went a little too ham on these buffs, I have mentioned, I've gone on record several times before saying that, like, from honestly just like a PR perspective, this kind of was what they had to do. I wouldn't say, I'm not sure I want to call it the right thing to do, but it was kind of what they had to do, because you know how the FGC is. People bitch and moan so much when something is not justified. They'll bitch and moan forever and ever about things that aren't even a problem. So when a character like genuinely is like just overtuned and too strong, imagine if there's a nugget of truth to their bitching, what they can do with it, right? So people were like straight up just not watching tournaments, not playing the game because of this character to an extent, the really bitchy people. So I understand why they had to like literally remove her ability to Raging Strike, which is just, what the fuck? This is a stupid nerf and they shouldn't have done this. But I understand why they went so hard with this, right? With that in mind, I want, the point is, so that's sort of the background on how Nier was definitely undisputedly the best character in the game in 1.5, or in 1.4. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to, yeah, I did see them bringing back Podkara. It's very funny. You know what? Sure. This is one where as a man, I gotta hold that L. In that video I said, saying that whining about the patch won't change anything. Apparently I'm wrong. Rexus listens to the whining. But Nier DP into 50% for later. Yeah. Yeah, Luca already knows where I'm going with this, right? So I posited in, I'm going to pull this up. Thank you. I'm going to pull this up. We're going to look at it in a second. I posited at the beginning of this video that as strong as Nier was, and by the way, I'm just going to say this right now. This can get me shot all you want. I think the Nier players in like pre 1.5, the Nier players were some of the most skilled players in the game. You can fuck right off. Oh, skill? What do you mean they're carried by Nier? The amount of like knowledge you had about the game and different interactions and stuff like that. Because by the way, while Nier was very strong, she had a lot of shit you had to learn about her, right? So like the Nier players were incredibly good at the game, and they had a lot of knowledge about the game, and they were lab monsters, and no character has been pushed as hard by their community as the Nier community did to Nier, I think. So I'm like, you can fuck right off with all this like Nier players are carried shit. You actually need to go to hell. But the reason I say that too is because Nier had a bit of like a slight dip in her perceived power for a little bit. In a little patch known as patch 1.3, which is a patch that Vayne came out with, right? I believe it should be this right here. I'm nice to drop super. Shout out to May. Yeah, like again, like the Nier players pushed that character. The character was very strong, but they pushed her to like levels that most other communities just didn't do with their characters, right? So this Vayne patch it was not a major patch or anything like that, but there was one very important thing here. And if this is like a good amount of you probably actually did not play in this period of Granblue. You may have heard about this, you may not know about this. It's going to be fun to show some of you. But something that Nier could do previously that she just didn't do. By the way, when CEO 2024 happened, she couldn't do this anymore, right? So something she used to be able to do that was very funny, and that is mentioned here in these patch notes. The character that primarily got nerfed in this patch was Nier. And yeah, so here's something. Misfortune, what's that? Oh, that's the DP. Can no longer be used to start a sequence of buffered skills. What does that mean? It means, my young Padawan, who only got into Granblue a couple months ago, that Nier could combo off her DP on game release. Nier's DP was a combo starter, and Luca has sent me this clip right here. Let's see. Let me. Oh god, I think I had it running in the background. Let's see. Let's see if we can find this real quick. Here you go. I found it. Look at this. Okay, no, sorry. I want to wake up DP. I want to wake up DP. I take it back. All right, here we go for real this time. Check this out. Reversal into. Okay, you seen that Kag's health? 16,000 health character, guys. So, Nier used to be able to do that. Nier's DP was a combo starter. Now, that might sound really strong to you. It is. I used to call this thing better JP Amnesia before that shit got nerfed too. Yeah, Nier could just do like 50% off her DP. On optimal combo, by the way, yeah. Nier could just blow you up for blocking her DP. Now, here's the thing. Why do I say that we never saw like Nier's actual full power? Because, so if we combine all of this, you know, this sick ass zippy setup, right? June 15th, Vayne came out in March, right? So a lot of the U skill tech that Nier got, a lot of her 50-50 setups, a lot of her looping Oki, a lot of her most optimal routes, a lot of her pressure setups, a lot of her brave counter baits were discovered after they took away her ability to combo with DP, right? So because this happened relatively early into the game, it happened like 3 to 4 months after game release, right? We never lived in a world where the Niers had discovered all their disgusting lab tech and could still combo off their HDP. I want you to imagine for a second a world where Niers are walking around, and again, the Nier players are as skilled as they are, fuck you if you disagree, but I want you to imagine a world where the Nier players are as good as they are, and they could do shit like this, right? And they can combo off their DP for 60%. And their 6XL is unnerfed. And 214U is also at full strength. Her little, like, the U death throw also got nerfed before the 50-50s got taken away, right? So I want you to imagine a world where this character does all of this. In hindsight, I didn't, like, fully realize this until a little bit ago. In hindsight, Release Nier is actually, I think, one of the most in modern fighting games. Obviously, like, you know, there's way worse shit. But if we think about actually everything this character could do on release, the players just didn't find it in time before it all got nerfed, right? On release, this is probably just the most broken fighting game character in modern fighting game history. Like, if you want to start with like if you want to count like modern fighting games starting in like Street Fighter V or something like that, right? I mean, Street Fighter V is kind of the end of like the old gen, I guess, possibly, right? Like maybe it starts with like Strive or something. This, like, for the power level of this game, like, yes, there are like crazier Strive characters, but for the power level of Granblue, which is a significantly lower power level game than something like Guilty Gear Strive, this probably is just the most broken fighting game character in modern fighting game history. And yeah, like Luca's saying, 1.0 Nier is top 5 best characters in fighting game history. Like, again, relative to the game that they are in, I think there's a real argument for that, right? Best neutral in the game, highest average damage in the entire game, best pressure against the universal system mechanics that exists in the game, like best answers to BC, best answers to throw tech, maybe not best answers to throw tech, but like top 5 answers to throw tech, right? Looping 50-50s in a game that doesn't have that, for the most part, right? Outside of like grapplers that pay very heavily for that privilege, right? We're talking comboing off her DP for like 60%. We're talking like actually still very good mobility, easy access to plus frames. What are we doing here? Corner does not need corner. True. The reason her damage is so high is because her damage is almost as high as it is out of corner than it was in corner. Now again, Nier was never actually played to that level ever, right? Like, even these very strong Nier players did not discover, and also had the best ultimate skills in the game, bar none. I made an ultimate skill tier list before 1.5. The best ultimate skill in the game was Nier's 2-2U. The second best ultimate skill in the game was Nier's 236U, and the 5th best ultimate skill in the game was Nier's 214U. This is after this move got nerfed. This was probably number 3 before it got nerfed, right? Like, before this got nerfed, it would have been 1, 2, and 3 were Nier in a game that is run by ultimate skills, right? So, even with these Niers being as dominant as they were, they actually never got to play full power Nier, and we never saw them do it. And if they did, like, if you could just teleport, like, if you teleport, like, modern day, like, Zippy or Elsa or whoever, and you teleport them back to 1.0, I know it's kind of cheating because they have other, like, system mechanic stuff. If you give them just their Nier knowledge, right? It's like 8 Niers in top 8. It's 16 Niers in top 16, right? Like, it's actually fucking insane is what this character is. Kara cancel SSBA in 2024, holy. So, like this is just... Like, this character was, in hindsight, truly an absolute fucking mess. As much as I will stand here and, like, I'll defend Nier players, and I'll defend the fact that Nier got nerfed harder than she should, and I'll defend the fact that people, like, bitched about it way too much, and I'll defend that she was much more interesting to watch than people gave it credit for. Everyone just didn't bother to fucking learn what she was doing, so they didn't realize, like, what was cool about it. I'll defend all of this. I have to say, though, oh my lord, Cygames, what the fuck did you make? Like, in hindsight, this character, let me pull up my tier list that I made for patch 1.4 real quick. So this right here is a tier list that I made for before the Resuja patch dropped, right? We had, like, Nier, best character in the game, Siegfried, Belial, Seox. You can argue about this as you want. Maybe I was underrating Grim Nier even then, who knows. But point being, this is sort of where I thought Nier stood in terms of patch 1.4. Some people put her in her own tier, whatever. In reality, if we're talking about release Nier is actually not just one tier above everyone else in the game. Honestly, it feels very reasonable to argue that Nier is actually just, like, so much better than every other character in the game that if you made a tier list that looked like this, so this might sound like exaggeration to you, right? But I think if Release Nier was played at full power, which never happened, she got nerfed before everyone could discover everything, right? I think it's like, you know how, like, you know, if you're like 5'5" and your buddy is 5'6", it's like, okay, like, you're taller than him, right? But if, like, someone next to you is, like, 9 feet tall, you guys are essentially the same height, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, who the fuck cares, right? I think it's a very fair assessment to say that if Nier was played at her full power, if Release Nier actually got to be fully realized, it's, like, not at all unfair to just say that, like, it basically, like, the other differences between characters essentially just don't fucking matter, right? Like, no matter what kind of, like, this character's better than this character, or this character can do X or Y thing a little bit better, or whatever the hell, right? Like, it actually just does not matter, right? Like, it basically just doesn't matter. Like, maybe not, like, 2, 3 tiers above like this, but, like, realistically, who gives a fuck, right? Like, who gives a fuck about the differences between other characters with how much more powerful Nier would be than all of them? There is no point to this video, really. It's more of just like a Grand Blue history video, I suppose. The game did hit its first anniversary. The day I'm recording this was like a couple days ago, right? So it's just a bit of a Grand Blue retrospective, I suppose. But this character, honestly, unironically, is going to stand in my heart forever as actually one of the most broken things that has ever been allowed in a game on release, right? I'm not saying, by the way, that this means that everyone was, like, bad or anything, but, like, in comparison, kind of. Again, let me just say it one more time. The 3 best ultimate skills in the game, in a game where ultimate skills, especially they didn't have ultimate skill scaling, guys. When Nier hits you with 2-2-U, you were taking, like, fucking 9,000 damage, guys. They didn't have ultimate skill scaling in patch 1.0. She could combo off her DP for like 50-60% in the mid screen. It didn't matter. She didn't need corner. She had the highest average damage in the game. She had the best neutral in the game. She had like one of the best 6XLs in the game. In a game dominated by 6XL, especially early on. She had the best answers to the very strong defensive system mechanic in the game that is Brave Counter. She had some of the best anti-throw tech pressure in the game, guys. Like, she did literally everything the best. And she had a looping 50-50 that was unfuckwittable, that she could start off literally any hit, that she could get that hit easier than anyone in the game because she had the best neutral. So, that's it. That's what 1.0 Nier was. We never got to see this Nier. But that's what she actually had in the tank. We just never got, it just never happened before she got nerfed into hell, I suppose, right? And honestly, I'm totally okay with that, because this is genuinely one of the most unbalanced characters relative to the roster that maybe has existed in any fighting game that I've heard of. I'm sure there's some fucking Kusoge, there's some Sailor Moon game that makes Nier look balanced, I know. But relative to the power level of the other characters in her game, this is genuinely one of the biggest fuck-ups I have ever seen from a fighting game developer. I talk about Cygames positively 99% of the time. 99% of the time, right? Almost everything I say about this game is incredibly positive, and it's not me shilling. I love this game. I think it's super fun. But holy fuck, Cygames, what the hell did you do with this, right? What, like, Arxis, Cygames, whatever you want, right? What the fuck were you thinking? What the fuck was this, right? God damn. Okay. That's gonna do it. That's gonna do it. How does 1.0 Nier compare to the Strive roster? It's important to remember that Strive's a much higher power level game than Granblue. So, how does Nier compare to, like, in how strong she was relative to her game? She's insane. But if you put her in that game, she's not even that good. But the fact is, she's probably not bottom 1, which is insane. Because every other Granblue character, you put any other Granblue character in Strive, they're like their own tier of bottom 1, right? So the fact that, like, Release Nier is, like, actually, like, a real Strive character, maybe? Like, ugh. If she's in Strive, she's mid, yeah. Nier's top 1 in Strive, I don't care. I don't know about all that, right? Because, again, we talk, like, I say, like, looping 50-50 in, like, such, like, a crazy tone. It's just not a thing, right? It's just not a thing. That's, like, not special at all in Guilty Gear, right? At all. At all. It's actually, like, you know, looping, like, 25, 25, 25, 25, sure. But, yeah, that is gonna do it for this little Nier retrospective video. Actually, I know I'm gonna start the recording again just for a second here. I just want to mention something. I'm gonna probably squeeze this in the middle of the video somewhere. 1.0 Nier is definitely bannably strong. I am usually not at all, like, on the side of that. I think even if the character's really good, you know, hold that shit, wait for the patches. You know, we're not playing, like, old games where they stay the same forever anymore. But 1.0 Nier, if, again, this hypothetical Nier, if the Nier players today could play her, for example, like Lucas suggested doing a 1.0 Granblue bracket, this character is, by all means, bannably strong, because they literally invalidate the game. We invalidate the game. Hopefully, if you've played the game back when Nier was this strong, then, yeah, hopefully you just had fun reliving the trauma. And if you didn't play the game, I hope I ruined your day. I hope this was fun for you to learn about just what the fuck they had created here pre-patch, right? Yeah, truly something. That is gonna do it though. Hope you had a good time with the video. I do stream every day, by the way, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, except for Fridays. If you want to come by and hang out, feel free to do so. Twitch and YouTube right there. Have a lot of fun with Granblue. Like the video, all that good stuff. Gonna see you in the next one. Peace.